Good evening, I am Tomas Guevara, and this is the channel Rewriting the Reality. In today's episode 46, we are going to give you a recommendation to live in harmony, just like Jesus Christ did, and like He encouraged us to be. He never said follow me, but live like me, follow my example. Subscribe to this channel, give us a like to help us create more videos and expand your awareness. Live in harmony is a matter to flow like the stream. Just being is the stream. There can be small obstacles that may arise in your direction, and it is merely a matter of reminding yourself of your direction and moving around them, just as a stream may encounter stones and rocks in its flow, but it flows around them. It does not stop the flow of the stream, it merely moves around them. In doing so, the stream itself polishes the obstacles like it polished the rocks. Therefore, they are not perceived as necessarily negative but can become glistening additions to the stream. Of course, you engage bigger obstacles, just as a tree may interrupt the stream momentarily, but in the end the stream will continue. Also, any perceived obstacle can become an inspiration or an encouragement in whatever direction you are choosing. This allows you to experience the genuineness of you and to drop that veil of separation, that you as an essence is not a separate entity. Your essence is not another thing beside you, it is you. And in dropping that veil of separation that creates this perception or this association that you are one thing, and that essence is another thing, it allows you to experience yourself in the genuineness of yourself, which is that which is essence. That you continue to be aware of yourself, of your beingness, of your existence, but you become aware that there is more of your existence, there is more of your genuine self than is generally perceived, and that you can expand that perception to include that more, which is genuinely you also. It is merely generally not the aspects of you or the parts of you that you see, or that you allow yourself to experience, but when you do, it is very empowering and very expansive. And, beyond that, it offers you the encouragement through that knowing, through that remembrance, that you can accomplish whatever you choose. There is no limit. It is the seat of that genuine comfort which is safe. It is the safest expression that you could possibly generate, that there is no expression that can harm you or even distress you in that state, in that beingness of yourself. In that recognition of what you genuinely are, there is no threat. Remembrance is not memory, it is a state of being. It is that state of being of knowing, of reconnecting with what and who you genuinely are. That is the remembrance, the actual experience of yourself in that knowing, that expansion and incorporating that into that lack of separation between yourself physically manifest and the expansiveness of yourself as essence. And in that experience, you are very correct, very safe, and you can expand and explore whatever you choose and accomplish and know that there is no limit to what you can do. Let me express myself in this way. There is a difference between trying to not be bothered and genuinely not being bothered because you are in a flow. Therefore, you can have fun and enjoy yourself and move in a particular direction, and at different points be trying to not be bothered by whatever may be presenting itself to you, and then ignoring it or distracting yourself away from whatever is being bothersome to you or attempting to generate it being less important. There is a difference between that and natural flowing, in which what is occurring around you is not necessarily bothersome to you. And even if you present something to yourself that is somewhat bothersome to you, it dissipates considerably quickly and you don't have to try to not be bothered. And in that, think of the word flow. Think of the stream. Think of a boulder in the stream. There could be a boulder in your stream, but you flow around it, or you flow over it. In that, is it there? Is it an obstacle? Yes. But it does not stop the movement. It does not interrupt it. It merely changes your movement. It changes the direction. You move around or you move over. And in that, the stream doesn't have to try to not be bothered by the boulder. it merely moves around it. Don't get me wrong, if there is an obstacle, the first thing is to acknowledge it. Therefore, you notice you are being bothered and you acknowledge that to yourself. You accept it for what it is, not attempting to change it or dismiss it, but merely accept it for what it is. Then you can begin to ask yourself certain questions. Why is this so important to me? For if something is presenting itself that is bothersome to you, the reason it is bothersome to you is because it is important. Why? Why is it important? Generally, what will be automatically bothersome to you will be some expression that another individual generates that perhaps you don't agree with, or perhaps you perceive differently, or perhaps you think and believe that they are incorrect and that you know different, or you know better. Why is that important to you? Meaning, not why is knowing what you know important to you, why is it important to you that you express that difference? Why is it important to you that you make it known or bring to the other individual's attention the difference? What is it that is being bothersome to you? Or, you address it directly. If an individual is sitting next to you in a restaurant and is poking you with their finger or is banging their fork on the table and is annoying you in that action, it is very easy to assess why is this important to you or why is this bothersome to you, and you can address it directly. If another individual is expressing an opinion about what is on the menu and you disagree with them, why is it important to you to correct them? That is different. In that, what is it that is important to you, that you are not being seen or heard that creates that situation in which it is important to you to voice what you perceive differently, or to correct another individual and to be right, and essentially to express how they are wrong? For in that, it is not a matter of the subject. It doesn't matter. You may be right, and you may be correct. And they may be incorrect in what they are expressing. They may be uninformed. Does that mean that it is necessary that you bring that to their attention? Why? Is it necessary to inform them that they are incorrect? Why? They will discover it themselves if it is important to them, just as you will discover for yourself if something is important to you if you are incorrect in some direction. But in actuality, what does it matter to you? In that, it is not a matter of the subject. The subject doesn't matter. It is whether you are right or not and whether other individuals know it. Therefore, there is some element of yourself that is perceiving that it requires being heard or seen, that to this point for a certain time framework I have been feeling and experiencing not being important or not being seen or not being heard, therefore I will address another individual and point out to them that they are incorrect, and everyone will look at me and will listen to me. Is this really important? Therefore, in the moment you assess the situation, and whatever it is that is bothersome to you, you define it and then define why it is bothersome to you. Why is it important to you? With the example of tapping on you or tapping on the table, it may be irritating to one of your senses or all your senses. Therefore, in that, you can address that immediately, and it is not a matter of right or wrong. It is a matter of comfort or discomfort, and that you are not expressing to the other individual that they are wrong. You are not correcting them. You are expressing in a direction of, this is uncomfortable for me, and I am expressing in this manner because I am uncomfortable. In the other example, it is a matter of right or wrong, and expressing that. Therefore, in any situation it is a matter of assessing first, acknowledging what you are feeling and assessing why am I feeling this and what is important about it, and is it actually really important, or is it not? Is a common misconception that if you are present you will never present to yourself any uncomfortable or bothersome situation. Incorrect. Let me express to you yes, you are creating all of your reality, every millisecond of it, every aspect of it. But you are also participating with billions of other individuals, and they are also creating their reality. And they do not always match, and in that, is it possible for you to present something to yourself that another individual is creating as a reflection to yourself to gauge how you will respond? Yes. And you may be being present and being aware. And in that, you are giving yourself the opportunity to continue to expand, by presenting to yourself scenarios that you would not necessarily create alone. Which gives you the opportunity to view your reflections and assess what your choices are. Therefore, it is not that you never present any challenge to yourself if you are always present. If you never presented any challenge to yourself, you also would never present any surprises. We are not creating utopia. You must remember always that two of the basic components of our reality are sexuality and emotion, and sexuality represents the physical and emotion represent the communication. The display of communication is our feelings. This is a part of the design of our reality. We are exploring this reality, therefore, we are exploring these experiences in relation to these guidelines, which include emotional expressions, which include feeling. In this, communication, which includes physical feeling also, if you are creating utopia then you are eliminating more than half of your physical feelings also. And in relation to the physical, if you are creating utopia then you are eliminating evolving. If you are eliminating evolving, you are limiting your choice. We cannot limit our choice. That is why we are not creating utopia. The key is to be intentional, even if you don't believe it. If you are distressed or are angry or frustrated and you are noticing and you don't want to be, whether you believe it or not, be intentional. Express intentionally different. You notice that your energy will change, but the feeling might not, at least not initially. But in that, remember whatever energy you are projecting is not necessarily gauged by what you are feeling. Your feelings are not an indicator of what energy you are projecting. Therefore, you might reflect very differently to yourself if you are intentional. Because you may be feeling distressed or irritated, and you may intentionally choose to express differently and not necessarily believe what you are expressing, for you are continuing to feel what you are feeling, and you believe that. You believe what you are feeling. But regardless of whether you believe it or not, it does not matter that it changes your energy. You don't have to believe to change your energy. For example, you are driving along, because you feel irritated, and so instead of swearing or yelling or stuff like that to other drivers, you will just wave hi, and that will change your energy, and you will begin to reflect differently. This may seem difficult because you believe that it is false, that it is pretend, that it is not real. But it is. You believe that it isn't because you are not feeling it. But why would you feel it? Why present feelings to yourself? If you are being intentional, if you are expressing intentional, there is no need to create a feeling. The feeling is a signal to alert you to a message, to communication. If you are already aware of communication, it is not necessary to generate a feeling. Therefore, the previous feeling remains, for you are partially continuing to pay attention to it, and in that, you may be skeptical and irritated that you are pretending and that you are not being genuine in expressing differently. It matters not, because you are engaging the action, and that changes the energy. Be intentional and you are flowing. That is a very significant factor, that flow. People do not quite understand what that means or what the appearance of that is, what they are doing when they are flowing. When you are flowing, it is not necessary for you to be thinking, you merely do. In that, the trust aspect is involved in that not thinking. You merely know. You are not questioning, you are not wondering, where should I go, what direction should I proceed in? You merely do it. I really want to give you good examples to better your life, therefore help me by subscribing to this channel, and have sweet dreams.